Thank you.
Mitt Romney is trying to build off his new lead in Iowa, making stops all across the Hawkeye state today, trying to convince Republicans there that he does in fact share in their conservative values. Illinois Congressman Schock has endorsed Mitt Romney for president, and he joins me now. Thank you so much for that. Rick Santorum is also making...
Melissa.
Rick Santorum today, I'm sure you've heard the news. He's making a strong move in Iowa, and he's talking a lot about his credentials. Let's listen to what he had to say this morning.
If you look at everybody else in the field, no one has ever run as a conservative and been able to attract independents and Democrats to win. I have, and I think that's one of the reasons the people in Iowa are looking at it.
You heard him make that point, running as a conservative. Is that sort of a hidden or not so hidden shot at your candidate specifically? And does Governor Romney still have to worry about selling his conservative values?
Well, I'll tell you, I spent the better part of 2 days with Governor Romney all across Iowa. I just got home late last night, and I will tell you, every stop we went to had bumper crowds, people flowing out into the streets. In fact, at lunchtime, we had to take over 2 restaurants in central Iowa because the overflow had reached far capacity. The fire marshal actually shut down people being able to go in. So in a conservative state like Iowa, to see that kind of outpouring of support really shows that Rick Santorum's argument that he's the only conservative doesn't hold water, quite frankly, with Iowa voters who have more and more come to Mitt Romney. You know, Iowa voters, anyone, have had a touch and feel and see of these candidates like no one else really in the country. They've had more attention poured on them in Iowa than any other state, and I think that says something, that more and more are now coming to Mitt Romney. You're seeing his numbers surge dramatically. Now, there's obviously an evangelical base in Iowa that has gone from Michelle Bachmann early on to Newt Gingrich, now to Rick Santorum, and so you're seeing a little bump with him. But I think at the end of the day, Mitt Romney's going to finish very strong in Iowa and far above almost everyone's expectations.
Yesterday in Iowa, you highlighted Governor Romney's ability to work with Democrats in Massachusetts. So kind of on the flip side of what you just said, do you think he would be more moderate to try to reach consensus in Washington? And also, why would Democrats who've watched Republicans stonewall nearly everything that President Obama has tried to accomplish, why would they want to work with Mitt Romney?
Well, a couple things. First of all, being a conservative does not mean you don't work with independent and Democrat voters. I would point to Ronald Reagan as one of the strongest conservative presidents we'd have, but also had an uncanny ability to work with a supermajority Democrat-controlled House to pass his tax cuts, to pass his reduction in spending, to pass his economic reforms. Ronald Reagan is a perfect example of someone who reached across the aisle to build consensus even among independent and Democrat voters as well as Democrat lawmakers. Melissa, people look at Washington, D.C., and they see a sense of a broken government. They see an utter frustration that things aren't getting done. And so my point yesterday in Iowa is simply, look, we can elect somebody who's conservative in their principles in Mitt Romney, who's cut taxes as governor of Massachusetts, who balanced the budget of governor of Massachusetts, left him a rainy day fund of $2 billion as governor of Massachusetts, but did it while he had an 85% Democratic House, 85% Democratic Senate. My point simply is this: when you go to D.C., it's fine if you've got a great idea and a great plan, but you got to be able to sell it to those Democrat lawmakers in the House and the Senate as well as Republicans.
So one more question rather quickly. You have served with Ron Paul on Capitol Hill. He has a good shot at winning Iowa. Could you see yourself, if given the opportunity, backing him as a potential Republican nominee?
Well, I don't believe Ron Paul will be the nominee. I have said early on that I think all of the candidates on the Republican side that are running would be better than President Obama, so I would vote for any of them if they're our eventual nominee. But almost every political pollster, pundit, and elected official like myself do not believe that Ron Paul will be our nominee.
Well, there's your answer.
Mitt Romney is finishing much stronger than any of us had expected in Iowa, so that's exciting.
Congressman Schock, thank you so much.
Good to be with you.
And you. Well, let's get more on the candidates on